And thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated. We now proceed the official opening ceremony for ASICE 2026 with this opening.
Our history is fading. How do we bring it back to life for the next generation? Behind every relic lies a heartbeat. To remember is not to look backward, but to awaken our collective story. Is art just for galleries, or can it actually help save the world? When imagination meets purpose, creativity becomes our most powerful tool for ecological and social harmony. In the digital age, is language just a way to speak? Or is it the data that connects our world? Language is the code of civilization. Through innovation, we translate diversity into universal understanding. In an era of rapid digital transformation, are we losing our connection to each other? Or can technology actually help us understand what it means to be human? At the intersection of human wisdom and digital horizons lies the true future of education. 4 interdisciplinary tracks, one shared mission, uniting language and education, cultural studies, digital humanities, and creative action for the Sustainable Development Goals.
Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat, President of Silpakorn University, Dr. Teerakiat Jareonsettasin, former Ministry of Education, Thailand, distinguished institutional leaders, renowned scholars, and honored guests from around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Bangkok, Thailand, and welcome to the International Conference on Arts, Sustainability, Innovation, Creativity, and Education, ASICE 2026. My name is Assistant Professor Dr. Kian Nawin C. Thanyarat, and this is Ajahn Pimulpan Wong Aram. Both of us are from the Department of Western Languages, Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. We are deeply honored to serve as your Master of Ceremony for this extraordinary two-day gathering of brilliant minds, visionaries, and changemakers. What we have just witnessed in our opening video captures the absolute essence of our gathering. We stand together at a historic crossroads where cultural legacy meets cutting-edge technological evolution. This year, we are incredibly honored to convene under our central theme, Cultural Heritage, Digital Innovation, and Creative Action, forging sustainable futures through art, education, and language. This prestigious interdisciplinary forum is made possible through a powerful trinity of academic excellence. We are proud to acknowledge our distinguished co-hosts who have brought this platform to life. The Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University, bringing world-class heritage expertise. Inti International University and Colleges, Malaysia, driving digital innovation. And the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center, providing profile anthropological depth. Together, they have designed a global platform to empower educators and researchers, transforming creative research into actionable strategies that actively advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our core mission at ASICE 2026 is rooted in building academic capacity through rigorous scholarship, fostering international research development, and cultivating strategic networking across borders. To accommodate our truly global community, this year's conference is proudly held in a hybrid format, allowing brilliant minds to connect seamlessly across boundaries. We are absolutely thrilled to announce that this year's call for papers received an overwhelming global response following a rigorous double-blind peer review process by our scientific review committee. We are hosting a phenomenal turning point of ideas. Over these 2 days, we are proud to feature on-site presenters who have traveled to join us live here at the Srinthorn Anthropology Center, alongside virtual presenters presenting via online hybrid platforms. Every accepted abstract will be featured in our official ASICE 2026 e-conference booklet. And our presenters will also be competing for the prestigious ASICE Excellence Awards, totally $600 in merit-based prizes, including Best Presenter for each of our 4 specialized tracks and the overall Best Presenter Award.
And to officially inaugurate our ASICE 2026 and to set the stage for the transformative discussion ahead, it is now our distinct honor to introduce the President of Silpakorn University, Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat, to deliver his opening speech. So ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving a warm welcome to the President of Silpakorn University, Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat.
Distinguished guests, keynote speakers, fellow academics, and participants, good morning. On behalf of Silpakorn University, it is my honor to welcome all of you to the opening ceremony of the International Conference of Arts, Sustainability, Innovation, Creativity, and Education, or ASICE 2026. We are proud to co-host this event alongside our esteemed partners, INTI International University and College, Malaysia, and our gracious host here, the Princess Mahachakki Sirinthorn Anthropology Center. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the organizing committees, particularly our Faculty of Archaeology, for bringing this exceptional gathering to life. This year, our discussions center on a vital and timely theme: language and education, cultural heritage, digital innovations, and creative action, forging sustainable future to arts. Silpakorn University has always stood at the intersection of arts, cultural heritage, and academic innovations. In an era where digital transformation is reshaping our world, a human digital synthesis is essential. We must leverage technology not to replace our roots, but to sustain, protect, and creatively advance our shared human experience. ASICE 2026 serves as a vital platform to turn this concept into tangible solutions. I encourage everyone to actively engage, share your unique dataset and research insights, and build lasting international networks that will drive sustainable change long after this conference concludes. Once again, thank you for being in Bangkok to contribute your expertise. And it is now my gracious honor to officially open the International Conference on Arts, Sustainability, Innovation, Creativity, and Education. I wish you all an inspiring, productive, and successful conference. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat, for those inspiring opening remarks. May I respectfully request Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat to remain on the stage for a very special moment, the presentation of tokens of appreciation. And this time, to our esteemed partners, co-hosts, and key dignitaries who made the conference possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached a very special moment in our ceremony to express our deepest gratitude for the incredible vision, partnership, and expertise that made ASICE 2026 possible. We would like to present our tokens of appreciation. And then first,
Okay, first, we would like to invite our co-hosts and partners to the stage to receive their tokens of appreciation from President Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Narupon Wang Thongchai Jareon, Dean of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. Professor Ling Ching Wong, Vice Chancellor of Inti International University, Malaysia. And Assistant Professor Dr. Prair Sirisak Damkeung, Director of the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center. Professor Ling Ching Wong, Vice Chancellor of Inti International University, Malaysia. And Assistant Professor Dr. Prair Sirisak Damkeung, Director of the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center. At this time, as a symbol of our strong international partnership, we would like to invite Professor Dr. Ling Ching Wong, Vice Chancellor of Inti International University, to present tokens of appreciation on behalf of Inti to Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat, President of Silpakorn University.
again, thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Narupon Wang Thongchai Jareon, Dean of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. Assistant Professor Dr. Prair Sirisak Damkeung, Director of SAG. Next, we would like to invite Assistant Professor Dr. Prair Sirisak Damkeung, Director of SAG, to present tokens of appreciation on behalf of the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center to Professor Dr. Tanasait Ngawhirunpat, President of Silpakorn University. Dr. Narupon Wang Thongchai Jareon, Dean of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. And Professor Ling Ching Wong, Vice Chancellor of Inti International University, Malaysia. Thank you to our exceptional institutional partners. Next, we would like to honor our distinguished keynote speakers who have graciously shared their profound insights and expertise with us today. Please walk up the stage as your name is called. Dr. Teerakiat Jareonsettasin, former Minister of Education, Thailand. Professor Dr. Rasmi Shoocongdej, Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. Assistant Professor Chol Bunnag, Director of SDG Move, Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University, Thailand. Professor Dr. Ling Ching Wong, Vice Chancellor of Inti International University, Malaysia. And Assistant Professor Dr. Vichaya Mukdamani, Vice President for Art and Culture, Silpakorn University.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give one more round of applause to all the esteemed partners and keynote speakers for their invaluable contributions to ASICE 2026. Now we would like to invite representatives from the main host, Silpakorn University, and the Department of Western Languages, Faculty of Archaeology, to join us on a stage for a commemorative photograph together, a group shot. First, Dr. Amonrat Amaralikit, head of the Department of Western Languages. Behind every landmark conference is an extraordinary teamwork, and tirelessly behind the scene turn vision into reality. And we would like to know that invite representative of conference coordinations and ASICE organizing team whose dedication and leadership that made SI 2026 possible. Dr. Narupon Duongwiset, Head of Research Department, Sirinthorn Anthropology Center. Art and Culture. Next, Dr. Suma, Conference Coordinator from Inti International University, Malaysia. Ms. Phung Ping Tan, Senior Manager, Research Management Center, Inti International University, Malaysia. And we cannot miss this person, Assistant Professor Dr. Kamlai Patapong, Conference Coordinator from Silpakorn University Faculty of Archaeology. So let us give one more round of applause to all of the coordinator for the group shot, please. Faculty leaders and distinguished guests for their outstanding support and collaboration. Thank you.
To officially ignite this intellectual journey, it is now my distinct honor to introduce our first session of high-level collaboration, the keynote addresses, to set the tone for our educational future. Our first keynote speaker is a visionary leader who has fundamentally shaped the landscape of education policy and reform in Thailand. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Teerakiat Jareonsettasin, former Minister of Education, Thailand. He will expand our horizon on the crucial topic, Pedagogy for a Borderless Role, Reimagining Education for the Global Citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm, resounding welcome to Dr. Teerakiat.
The president of Silpakorn University, the Pro Vice Chancellor of India University, the director of Chakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center. It is indeed a humbling experience for me to actually prepare for this talk, because when I learned about the theme of this conference, I need to think about a few things. For instance, this topic is about culture and heritage. What does it mean, culture? So I only recall Matthew Arnold, who say culture is the best that has been thought and said in human history. What about sustainability? Sustainability is actually, according to Professor Solo, MIT economics professor, he says sustainability is a vague but meaningful concept. It's a moral obligation to our future generations. And when we need to think about education, so what has been said and thought about education, and above all, when the topic is given, pedagogy, maybe because I was former Minister of Education, but pedagogy has a very deep meaning. It actually comes from ancient Greek. The word that is related to is paideia. In medicine, we have pediatrician. Peds means children. So when we educate our children, when the word paideia, which has a very deep meaning for culture, cultivation, even education, in Greek civilization. So that is what I'm very pleased about. So what is the best way to educate our future generation? And in this borderless world. So I like to start with the best that has been thought and said in modern times on education. Can I? One time before an education conference in year 2000, my teacher, my spiritual teacher, Sri Satya Sai Baba, called me and Dr. Art Ong Chum Sai inside for the conference, before the conference, and asked, what is the end of education? This is quite an unusual question from an Indian guru or spiritual teacher, because when you ask what is the end of education, it actually implies some sort of Greek thinking. In Greek, the end, I'll come to this. And then he replies that the end of education must be character. And in the word, when he used Sanskrit, the word character is shila, which is very interesting. Shila actually is Thai word seen. So shila means character. The end of education must be character. And character or sila, in fact, very interesting as well. If you look at the Greek word character, which means to engrave. To engrave means to,ภาษาไทย in Thai language, Jaruk, if you try to pronounce character CHARAC, is actually Jaruk, to engrave. To engrave in your mind, in your, if you like, in your persons, as tendencies for you. So for my teacher, character means human values of, or it also means harmony of head, heart, and hand, thought, word, and deed. So human values, he defined as when humans embody the values of, again, these are Sanskrit words, Satya, Dhamma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa, truth, right conduct, peace, love, and nonviolence. And then he gives the secret that love is the basis of character. Taking you back, because as I said, the question implies some sort of ancient Greek thinking, starting from even Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle actually uses the word telos to mean end, good, the good of something, completeness or perfection or excellence. So when education comes to its end, come to its perfection, come to its excellence, what does it look like in the product of education? So, and Aristotle wrote the most powerful book called Nicomachean Ethics. Basically, it's actually wrongly translated. It should be translated on the matters of character. It is so inspiring. Even after I stepped down as a minister, now I run schools, and our school's motto is character matters, because this is what Aristotle say, ethos. And then he said character actually comes from habit, ethos, without the hat on the A. And he spent about a fifth of the book on the topic, which is again mistranslated as friendship. It should be translated as love or loving kindness, or in Thai it's exactly the same, or in Sanskrit is actually maitri, or in Pali is metta. Now, the only method, according to Aristotle, according to the if you like, the supreme educator. Now, in my field of education, I have seen a lot of studies on methodologies, pedagogies. John Hattie used to compare actually studies and analyze thousands of pedagogical methods to compare and contrast which works and which doesn't work. But to me, I think underlying in all these methods, there is only one method in this borderless world. And it sounds trite to nowadays to call it love. My school now attracts a lot of students from various schools. The Christian schools thought that we are very Christian. The Buddhist, the people who come from Buddhist backgrounds think that we are very Buddhist. So because we share something in common, that is love. So what is it? Now it's give me pleasure, instead of saying what love is, let's hear from the person who really knows what love is. There's only one law guiding and guarding this world, the law of love. Man's characteristic is love. His nature is love. The fog of desire clouds love and distorts it. The greatest virtue is love. Love is the basis of character. Love flows from those who are humble. It cannot arise in those who are conceited and pompous. Love must flow from the tongue, must not flow from the tongue, nor from the head only, but chiefly from the heart. Love does not seek any return. Love knows only to give, not to receive. Love lives by giving and forgiving. For true love, love is its own reward. Love grows through service. Love is born in the womb of service. Love more and more people. Love them more and more intensely. Transform love into service. I just like to invite you, if you just adopt this into your life. This is not a doctrine or a dogma to force you, or it's not a romantic sort of words. But if you just adopt this into your life and see, just try to live out what this passage is all about. Love more and more people. Love is it's actually born through the womb of service. Love grows through service. We wouldn't have had the incidents that we had in the last few days in Thailand, as you all know. Now, people are struggling to find the solutions, but I think we're bound to basically have this sort of incidents again if we do not put this into practice. And then my teacher continues to say, love is a mark of humanness. It is when you experience another's suffering as your own that your human value is manifested. It is not that easy, but we must practice. We should work hard. To learn driving, we should work hard. Similarly, to learn human values, practice them. Without practice, we will not have anything. Walking, talking, reading, writing, eating, everything comes to practice. So practice human values. Again, this is very Aristotelian, in the sense that Aristotle say you cannot think your way to love. If you want to be brave, you have to practice bravery. You have to, there's no other way. And through that, you can reach the end, the perfection of that, which is called excellence. And it's translated into Latin called virtus, which basically into English called virtue. So virtue means excellence of the quality that you have practiced through habituation. It is to transform man's nature from the animal to human. That love serves as a powerful force. Love all beings, that is enough. Love with no expectation in return. Love because your very nature is love. When others are happy, be happy likewise. When others are in misery, try to alleviate their lot to the best of your ability. Practice love through selfless service. If you want happiness and if you want peace, you must give love. Only through love will you find inner peace. Then he gives a secret formula later. The first that comes out from humans is love. We start loving our mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, relatives, friends in nature. Life starts with love. The same love is expanded in our words, actions, and thoughts. The reflection and the spark that has come out of love is called truth. The same love, when expressed in action, is called right conduct. When love is contemplated upon, mind attains supreme peace. When we inquire from where this love comes and understand its very source, then we realize the great principles of nonviolence. Now he is implying that all the 5 human values are the same, they are not separate. Love must see the best in others, not the worst. Man is love embodied. We thirst for love and find real joy in loving and receiving selfless love. Love all as embodiments of the same divine principle. Love can tame even the most ferocious of beasts. Start pouring out love to all the members of your community and gradually expand that love to include all mankind and even lower creatures. This is something very interesting. Being a psychiatrist, everything that is positive we call love is wrong. Even the Buddha, when he talks about love, at least he has metta, karuna, mudita, ubekha, which is a different types of love. If the love is equal, you call metta. If you love people who are lower than you or who are suffering, you call it compassion or karuna. If you love people who are higher or of a better quality than you or have something better than you, you call mudita. And then ubekha is basically you don't associate with them. Love is a much misused word. Any positive response to an attraction is called love. Any feeling of attachment, however trivial or transitory, is being called love. We must coin new words or set aside specific words to indicate the forms of love. The attachment of parents to their children and of children to their parents should be called affection. The response to the attraction of sex is best described as fancy, fascination, delusion. The family of kinship or comradeship evokes dearness. The pleasure one gets through a sense of possession, especially of material objects, can be known as satisfaction. We should distinguish all these different feelings we have. When we get something we want, it's just satisfaction. When we fall in love romantically, it's just delusion or fascination. What is love then? The yearning to reach for the sublimity that lies inherent in the truth. This alone is entitled to be called love. By this holy word, love. Love is strong and steady enough to overcome all obstacles and to confront with equanimity all changes of fortune and to defeat all attempts to delay or deviate. If you develop love, you do not need to develop anything else. So the only pedagogy. So don't worry too much how you're going to teach. Go, many great teachers, they go and radiate love in the room, and there will be transformation in your students. Truth, peace, right conduct, and non-violence, the five human values, do not exist separately. They're essentially dependent on love. When love is associated with thoughts, it becomes truth. When love is introduced into your activities, your action becomes right conduct. When your feelings are saturated with love, your heart is filled with supreme peace. When you allow love to guide your understanding and reasoning, then your intelligence becomes saturated with non-violence. So the undercurrent is love. Basically, it's a different, it's the same expression of when love is. So one time, my teacher called us and said, "You know how love is to be cultivated?" He gives this two methods, which I love very much. Again, I invite you, if you adopt this into your day-to-day life and even in your professional practices, he said it can be done through two methods. Consider always the faults of others, however big, to be insignificant and negligible. Consider always your own faults, however insignificant and negligible, to be big and feel sad and repentant. Only then you can be very humble. Whatever you do, particularly those who are in the religion that have God, whatever you do with yourself or with others, do it remembering that God is omnipresent. He sees and hears and knows everything. Whatever you speak, remember that God hears every word. Endeavor every moment to be aware of the omnipotence of God. So I'm going to conclude with these two formulae. It's love when it's in your thought. It is truth. Love plus action is right conduct. Love plus feelings. If your feeling is filled with love, you have peace automatically. And love plus understanding is nonviolence. One time I was, again, with my teacher, and I was using this to teach the master students in business strategies. And they all love this because people are heavily involved in worldly activities. A lot of them want peace. And in fact, all of us want peace. So, but at the same time, we need to be engaged and active in society. So my teacher has given this formula. He said, head in the forest. That means you're with Dharma, with God, with whatever in the forest, but hand in society, but heart in love. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Teerakiat, for that profoundly thought-provoking session. Reimagining pedagogy for a borderless world beautifully reminds us that our classroom must transcend traditional boundaries to empower true global citizens.
And now moving from global education to the preservation of our roots. Our second keynote speaker is a highly distinguished scholar whose work bridges archaeological depth with cultural sustainability, representing the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. Please welcome Professor Dr. Rasmi Shoocongdej as she delivers her keynote's address titled Ancient Echoes, Digital Future, Leveraging Digital Humanities for Cultural Sustainability. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Rasmi Shoocongdej.
Thank you for your introduction and good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, and participants, of this conference. And I will follow Professor Teerakiat on his love, But I think it's come, his keynote speaker, speech came at the right time for this violent world. And but for me, perhaps I will not touch upon that, but I will talk about love of the heritage, for the all humankind here. So so we gather today at the conference that dedicate to arts, sustainability, innovation, creativity, and education. A gathering that united by the pursuit of how human progress can enrich human life without sacrificing our cultural root. Every day, the technology and the creativity promise to compress time and shape our future. Yet, our tools become more innovative. Our sense of cultural anchoring often feel incredible fragile. We must ask ourselves, how do we foster the true innovation and sustainability without erasing human story that came before us? Today, I want to propose that the answer lies precisely at the intersection of creative innovation and ancient heritage. Through our long-term research support by the NRCT Senior Research Scholar Grant, examine the archaeology and history of the ethnic group along the Sarwin River Basin, building nearly 3 decades and the long-term work in the highland Pangmapa, Mae Hong Son, Northwest Thailand. I want to show you how digital humanity can transform ancestral spirit from the static relic of the past into a dynamic living framework for the cultural sustainability. To understand the transformation, we must first challenge how our field has historically been perceived. The modern paradigm shift away from the academic ivory tower. Archaeology is no longer a monologue delivered about the community from a distant part. It is a vital, ongoing reflexivity and a multivocality, turning research into instrument of the social empowerment and cultural sustainability, where the community are active and co-author of their own history. To see this paradigm in the action, let us turn into the rugged terrains of the Mae Hong Son province in northwestern Thailand. Border of the Sarwin River and Myanmar, historically, landscape has never been a remote or isolated periphery. It is a vibrant crossroad of a trade, route linking Lana, the Shan State, lowland Burma, and South China. It is a home of extraordinary mosaic of the community, including the Korean, Thai, Lua, Lahu, etc., whose history are written directly to the karstic landscape, ancient trail, and enduring place name. Beneath this living landscape, it lies stunning a prehistory. In this highland Pangmapa district, sites like Thammasat rock shelter reveals a continuous human presence stretching for 32,000 years long before agriculture, writing, or any human national border. We have uncovered direct skeleton evidence of the modern human Homo sapien, our ancestor today, from Thammasat lady dating to 13,640 years ago, through the continuous occupation layer 12,100 and 9,020 years ago. This evidence underscores northwestern Thailand as a crucial corridor for the movement of modern populations across Asia. This deep sequence flows into the wooden log coffin culture, dating roughly 2000 to 1,600 years ago. A massive teak log carved with a distinct geometric and zoomorphic handle and finished with the paint lacquer where it's lifted high into the cliff shelter. In Malaysia, you have this as well in Sabah. Crucially, a DNA analysis proved that this population was a dynamic demographic melting pot, a true meeting point of the diverse people, never an isolated dead end. This brings us to a critical methodological shift. The contrast between the two ways of doing archaeology under the traditional model, an outsider researcher arrive, excavate, and leave with the data and artifact, treating local community merely as passive informants, while the knowledge remains locked inside the academia. In contrast, our collaborative approach embraces the reflexivity, and multivocality, treating community as a co-author, and using archaeology as an instrument for the social empowerment and cultural sustainability. To understand this framework, we look closely to our core research focus, the archaeology and history of the ethnic groups along the Sarawin River in Mae Hong Son. How does this come together? We call the bridge in practice. This initiative merged 6 academic disciplines: archaeology, anthropology, linguistic history, GIS, visual anthropology, and archive study into an integrated digital record, transforming the fragile heritage into a secure archive using the advanced technology like 3D scanning, photogrammetry, and GIS mapping. Beyond the academic preservation, the project empowered the local community by mapping 244 registered sites in Mae Hong Son, safeguarding the historical and colonial document, and capturing contemporary tradition to connect the ancient past to the present. As we move from the prehistory into the historical period, the Sarawin Basin continues to reflect the complex layer of human interaction. The region integrates closely with the political and economic network of Lana and Tanasait and Burma during the 15th and 19th century. Following this, the establishment of the Mueang Mae Hong Son catalyzed the multi-ethnic migration wave, drawing in the Gariang, Thai Yai, Lua, Lahu, Lisu, Hmong, Chinese Vietnamese, and South Asian traders. Furthermore, in the late 19th and early 20th century, we saw the intensive commercial timber extraction by entities like the Bombay Burma Trading Corporation and the Siam Forest Company along the side of the severe disruption and supply corridor of the World War II. Today, Mae Hong Son stands as a vibrant, modern-day province that navigating contemporary development, cross-border integration, and environmental challenge. And Mae Hong Son stands as one of the Thailand's most ethical diverse province. The deep past directly explains this ongoing dynamic of the migration, interaction, and environmental adaptation, providing that this diverse community are essential pillar of our broader social fabric. So this is kind of the framework that you can see that from the past, we can understand and explain the diversity that happened in the present. And this can be the model that we can use from other area, in Thailand and also Southeast Asia, as well as in the global context. So decoding this 32,000-year continuum require a robust multidisciplinary framework. We integrate science and archaeology with the GIS digital archive for the spatial modeling across the micro, macro, and meso scale, as well as the visual anthropology to document the living cultural tradition. Through the international partnership with the institution like the Max Planck Institute in Germany, the ancient DNA and isotope analysis allow us to track the genetic signature, migration path, prehistoric mobility, and the diet pattern across the river drainage. Simultaneously, bioarchaeology, zooarchaeology reviews the health indication, population interaction, ancient subsistent strategy. And finally, the dendrochronology gives us the high temporal solution by analyzing the growth of the ring of the teak log coffin. And it also tells us about the environmental change. So this scientific foundation is matched by our digital humanity initiative on the ground. Utilize the 3D laser scanning to capture the cave interior and the artifact volume and millimeter precision. It also tells us about the crack that happened by the earthquake or anything that happened inside the cave. We apply the photogrammetry to major artifact type such as the pottery to, this is the cave, this is the 3D cave. And to generate the 3D digital twins, which allowing the researcher worldwide to study the fragile material culture remotely. Because this one, we don't want to just keep the artifact with us. So when we make the replica, the community can have the replica of these artifacts. Where the physical exhibition is necessary, we use also the printing to produce one by one resin replica. So it's minimizing the handling stress and physical degradation on the fragile prehistoric origin. This is all the replica. So technology is meaningless if it remains locked inside academic walls. Through the support from the U.S. Ambassador Fund for the Cultural Preservation, the Thammasat Heritage Center has been established as a community-based and living laboratory. Here, the scientific discovery merged with the oral history of the local groups to create a true dialogue of the culture. Through the Diamond of the Cave, the Youth Investigator Training Program, and the local school curriculum, we empower the local population as an active guardian of their own landscape. So technology and science data are vital, but the true sustainability cannot exist without the community-based stewardship under our core philosophy of leaving no one behind. We actively empower the local Shan, Lahu, Korean, and Hmong community to act as a primary guardian of their own landscape. In practice, this means that the development of the localized school curricula so that school children can learn directly about their natural and cultural heritage. And by blending the hard science with the indigenous oral history and create a living laboratory ensuring that the local inhabitant remain the rightful owner and the storytellers of their own past. A prime example of this stewardship in action is the Thammasat Heritage Center, a community-based museum managed and cared for directly by the villagers of the Thammasat themselves. Crucially, to bridge the physical gap between the remote highland village and the wider world, the Surinthorn Anthropological Center, thank you to the director that had partnered with us to transform this space into the stage of art, the virtual museum. This collaboration ensure that the rich heritage of the Thammasat is safely preserved and made globally accessible, and proving that the community stewardship and the digital innovation can walk hand in hand. As we reflect on the core of the theme of this conference, arts, sustainability, innovation, creativity, and education. Our work along the Sarawin River demonstrates that how this principle must, converge in practice. By uniting advanced science, GIS mapping, visual anthropology, and community stewardship, we ensure that innovation is not used to distance us from history, but to honor it. So echoing the enduring footsteps of the past from 32,000 years of human resilience in our highland to the ancient tradition of our ancestors, archaeology ceases to be a study of what has vanished. Instead, it evolved into a living framework for the cultural sustainability and social equity. From ancient echo to the digital future, our mission reminds us of a simple truth. Because Ajahn Teerakiat talking about love, so I should have some sentence that I will end as well. So archaeology is the sign of the past, but the heritage and the sustainable innovation are the heartbeat of our future. So thank you.
Wow, what can I say? That is very inspiring. This is not just a monologue study. This is going to be the future of digital humanities. From excavation in the fieldwork towards the world of community-based. This is such a great experience as to hear Ajahn Professor Dr. Rasmi again today. So our highest gratitude to Professor Dr. Rasmi Shoocongdej today for her talk. And I think it can be unlocked and woven into vibrant cultural sustainability when empowered with the digital humanity, for sure.
To conclude our keynote triad, we look toward the practical application of data to spark sustainable development goals and localized action. Our next speaker is a pioneer in bridging research with societal impact. Please welcome Assistant Professor Chol Bunnag, Director of SDG Move, Center for SDG Research and Support from the Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University. He will speak on the vital topic, from data to action, localizing SDGs and the future of sustainable innovation in Thailand. Let's welcome Assistant Professor Chol Bunnag.
Professor Tanasait, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be here. And let me acknowledge Professor Rasmi's keynote on digital humanities and cultural sustainability, because much of what I say rests on ground she has prepared. I come to you as an economist. I direct a research center that produces indices and provincial data sets. And I want to put to you an argument my own discipline should find uncomfortable, and which I hold with some hesitation myself. It is this. As the 2030 deadline approaches, central question may no longer be what we must achieve. That was largely settled in 2015. The harder question is how, within particular places, with particular communities. And when we ask how, I have come to think the humanistic dimensions of this work, culture, the arts, language, and education, belong closer to the center than my profession has generally placed them. I will develop that in three movements. Why localization appears to be the binding constraint, what we found measuring Thailand province by province, and what the research suggests culture and creativity actually do, including the findings that actually complicate my case. I offer it as an invitation to discuss. Let me begin with the global position. The United Nations SDG report in 2026 finds that of the 139 targets with data, around 36% are on track or progressing moderately. Some 49% are moving too slowly, and roughly 15% now sit below where they stood in 2015. Not stalled, but worse than when we began. And according to another report, Sustainable Development Report 2026 by UNSDSN, only about 16% will be met on time. And before I turn to Thailand, let me address an assumption I suspect may be present here, that the Sustainable Development Goals are a technocratic agenda from which humanistic concerns have been excluded. It is understandable. I want to suggest respectfully that it is mistaken, and the correction matters for what follows. Read the framework on target level and culture is explicitly present. Target 4.7 commits nations to education for sustainable development, to global citizenship, and to an appreciation of culture's contribution to sustainable development. Target 11.4 commits nations to safeguarding cultural and natural heritage. They are not generous reading on my part, they are in the text. But here is the more interesting finding. And it criticized my profession rather than yours. Comparing Thailand's status across three sources, the Voluntary National Review, the UNESCAP SDG Tracker, and the International SDG Index, we found that target 11.4 on cultural and natural heritage appear in only one of the three. So culture may not be missing from the framework so much as from the instruments. The goals acknowledge heritage. The system that shape budgets and attention largely do not observe it. That seems to me a problem. This room is better equipped to address than me. Okay. At the national level, we face interlocking challenges and unsustainable food and agricultural system economies that are neither sustainable nor just. The quality of education, well-being, climate adaptation, biodiversity loss, development finance, and governance. And across all three assessment sources, only 5 targets are agreed to be regressing. One of them is 11.6 on urban air quality. I would ask you to hold this in mind. National monitoring is necessary. I do not think it is sufficient. And let me show you why. Using our own data, under the Area Need project supported by Thailand Science Research and Innovation Office, our team built a provincial SDG index covering all 76 provinces and Bangkok. This is not an official indicator set. It does not replace the work of the SDC or the provincial SDG profile developed by UNDP or TDI. It is a complementary instrument built for a particular purpose. So this is the national picture. The mean provincial score is 54.34 with a standard deviation of 4.95. Read that alone and the country looks settled, even unremarkable. Now look beneath. You can see from the figure the eastern region average is 58.05. The southern border region is 47.09. Khon Kaen is the highest scoring province, sits at 62.38, and Mae Hong Son, links to Ajahn Rasmi, sit at the lowest at the 32.74. And when we look at goal by goal, the distance between strongest and the weakest province is not just 5 points. On several goals, it exceeds 70s. So you can see that there are some inequalities between provinces in each goal. So the national average is not false. It is simply not descriptive of anywhere. There is no province where life is average. Some sits on the right side of the graph and some sit on the left side of the graph. Now, the finding that seems to me to belong to this conference in particular, of all 17 goals, the weakest in Thailand is goal number 4, quality education, as you may guess from the beginning. The lowest mean of any goal at 35.7. And of 77 provinces, only one, which is Chumphon, scores above 50. Narathiwat scores 21.1, and Khon Kaen, the highest ranked province in the country, score only 36.5. Being the first overall does not, on this measure, appear to help. One further figure, which I find most instructive. Mae Hong Son ranks the 77th of the 77 overall, but on goal number 3, Mae Hong Son ranked first in Thailand. The province, our ranking called the weakest, is the one our own data says lives best. I take that as a caution against my own instrument and as the clearest argument I can offer for why aggregate measurement must give way to local knowledge. Okay. Measurement identifies, it does not move anything. So in 2025, we attempted a small pilot in our own area needs project. We chose Skol with Skol Ratchapat University as principal partner, taking as our starting problem the province itself named poverty. The context is difficult. The Northeast has the highest income poverty in Thailand, 11.54% below the poverty line. Household debt above 35%, mostly consumption rather than productive debt. And many skipped generation households where older people raise children because working age adults have migrated for work. Skol ranked 50th on our index, but 72nd in income. Agriculture is the largest sector, and the second largest source of circulating income is its educational institutions. Now, that actually changed what a university is in such a place. In Skol, the university is not an observer of the local economy. It is already a substantial part of it. The question is not whether it should engage, but whether it engages deliberately. We identify 5 knowledge gaps: agricultural knowledge that does not reach farms, weak value adding and market access, technology that bypasses smallholders, planning without household level data, and the 5th, I would ask you to remember, the knowledge exists, but the language and presentation of academic work have not been translated into the context and language farmers actually use. So we recommended the regional university might serve as a knowledge hub, convening state, private sector, and community together. Buntham 2023 described a comparable arrangement in Chiang Rak Noi, where Ratchapat University and the Thai Mon community mapped 9 forms of social capital and built livelihood from them. So university play important role in steering different sectors to work together. So 2 lessons emerged, and they are the hinge of this address. First, although we can describe the national status of the goals, advancing them appears to require engaging each locality on its own terms, working together with rather than upon it. Second, I think this also echo what Ajahn Rasmi just mentioned. Second, sustainability efforts must align with local livelihoods, traditions, and geographical and ecological conditions. The second is why I stand before an audience of artists, linguists, and educators rather than economists. If sustainability must align with livelihood and traditions, then cultural heritage is not an ornament upon this work. It may be the mechanism by which a global aspiration becomes a local practice. So let me propose 3 roles with the evidence for each, including the evidence that actually cuts against me. So the first one is the role of culture and arts that transform the local economy. The potential appears real and measurable. Chai Bun Si in 2024, applying clustering methods to Thai sectoral data, identifies 4 creative sectors generating the highest returns: fashion, advertising, Thai food, and cultural tourism. And modeling sustained policy support reports a substantial gain in household welfare. But heritage alone does not appear to do it. And here the evidence is unkind to easy advocacy, including my own. Hom Sombat and colleagues in 2025 in the panel study of all 77 provinces from 2015 to 2020, find creative employment, creative enterprises, and enabling environment all raise provincial output. But cultural vibrancy show no such effect, and the presence of cultural venue correlated negatively with provincial product, particularly in smaller province. Their most robust determinant was the governance quality. These are correlations and contestable, but they should give us a pause. Building the venue may not be where the work begins. It's actually about how we govern them and how we actually utilize them economically. The most useful evidence I have found in comparison, and it concerns my own pilot province, Lim and I think Shoocongdej in 2024, study an old town Skonakorn creative district, an initiative separate from our work here. They describe selective symbolic engagement, which they call a cartel of creatives for creatives, convening elite networks while excluding ordinary residents and traditional fabric producers. The result they term emotional displacement. People still present in their neighborhood, but no longer at home in it. 90 minutes away, Teerakiat Jareonsettasin and colleagues in 2025 document the Thai Puan community in Ban Chieng building enterprises around the same craft, indigo dyeing, with pottery and wickerwork, organized as hands-on participation rather than display and distributing income locally. Same heritage, same region, very different outcomes. So this evidence, the difference lies not in the culture, but in who governs the engagement. Communities as co-creators rather than hosts. And what Lim and Shoocongdej call slow policy in place of fast. So we need to actually move things step by step. This may be what it means for heritage to thrive rather than merely be preserved. The second role begins with an admission AOU. Mon in 2022, comparing energy transition in Britain and Chicago, argues that the largest barrier to low carbon transition is actually cultural rather than technical. And that presenting evidence to audiences holding opposing beliefs can trigger rejection, making the position harder rather than easier. Said that besides our fifth knowledge gap, and the conclusion seems unavoidable. My index cannot cross the gap that my index measures. The literature suggests that art crosses it along three pathways. First, material. Padung Setakit in 2025 worked with artists and salt farming community in Samut Songkram facing climate threat, turning farmers' own working postures and salt crystals under microscope into textiles, photography, and sculpture. Ecological vulnerability became visible, and community took part in co-creators rather than subject of study. There is a paper in this building this afternoon by Ponswan Traipasai on a related transformation of the salt field in Rayong, in Rong Yai, in Petaburi. The second is emotional, and here Smith and colleagues in 25 offer a number. Evaluating a large public artwork on flooding in Hull in the UK, they report a statistically significant association between emotional response and behavioral intent. Those reporting an emotional reactions were roughly 7 times more likely to report planning concrete action. That is intention rather than observed behavior. And I would not overread it, but it suggests emotion may not be a declaration upon the message. It may be the part of how a message becomes a behavior. And the third is political. Recall target 11.6 on the haze problem. Liu and colleagues in 2026 examines exhibitions in Chiang Mai, ranked 74th in our index, where artists and the Chiang Mai Breathe Council decline the narrative that clean air is a personal lifestyle choice and argue instead for the clean air bill. Because haze is seasonal, they note the art did something policy attention does not. It held the conversation open in the months when the sky was clear. So the art is used in policy advocacy and communicating sustainability challenges. The third role is the strongest of my claim, so let me make it clear, carefully. Thirat Thamrongvi and colleagues in 2026, working along with Paruang Heritage Corridor in Sukhothai, map how community capitals move. Cultural and built capital form the baseline. Human and social capital act as a transmission catalyst, and visible outcome then attract financial and political capital. If that sequence holds, culture actually sits upstream of the money, not downstream. Their work also builds community capital maps, letting community assess their own strength before depending on the state budget, against what they call authorized heritage discourse. Note what that means for me. I build an index that measures places from above. They build maps that let a place measure itself. Both are measurements. Only one can act without permission. And I'm not certain mine is more useful. I think the locals are more useful. And considering aging in our index records on aging society as a challenge in all 6 regions. Yet Tirapong and Natakun in 2025 studying the Charachatra troupe in Ang Thong, performers over 60 who moved outline during the pandemic, earned income and drew younger people into traditional dance beside them. Record the population differently. What my data treats as dependency ratio, that study treat it as a transmission mechanism. Both may be true, but only one suggests what to do. Okay. The next one, our index, actually give Narathiwat the lowest education score in Thailand, 21.1, and Pattani the second lowest. Yala sits well below the national mean. The southern border is the weakest region in our data, and the challenge our report named there is a conflict. In those 3 provinces, Suwan Pakdi and Chitdung Prem in 2025 brought 31 Buddhist and Muslim young people together for a week to compose music. 6 original pieces, Central Thai melody woven with local instrument and Ramana rhythm. Working from Allport, which is another context hypothesis, they report a reduction in prejudice among the participants. It is a small study over 1 week, and I will not claim more than it is, but it was undertaken in what our own data suggests is the hardest educational context in the country. And what appeared to have helped was a song. I mean, instead of have education to bring people together, it's actually arts and cultures that can bring people together. So let me close where I began with an appropriate uncertainty. Provincial data can show where the country is uneven. A university as an anchor institution can convene a place around what the data shows, but neither, I think, can align development with a way of life. That is the work culture does as an economic mechanism, as a route by which evidence becomes action, and as a form of capital in its own right. I am conscious that I have brought an economist instrument into the room and knows this terrain better than I do. And that much of what I have proposed remains uncertain. I would welcome your correction over the course over the course of this event. That case will not be made well by economists alone. I suspect that it will be made in the room like this one, and I would like to help make it with you. So I hope this talk useful to the conference somehow. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Assistant Professor Chol, for demonstrating how data transforms into tangible community-based solutions for our planet's most pressing challenges.
And I think we have had an incredible rich morning full of vision and leadership. We'll now take a short break for 25 minutes networking and coffee break. Refreshment are served outside right at the main hall. And please make your way back to the auditorium by 10:45. a.m. So we will dive deeper into the specialized plenary sessions spanning language, culture, and digital humanities. So enjoy your break now.
At ASICE2026, we explore how creative actions breathe new life into our heritage. Here in our BA program in English at the Faculty of Archaeology, we are redefining the modern-day curriculum. We don't just teach English, but we also provide the linguistic key to digital humanities, where language meets data to uncover hidden patterns of our history. Our focus is the human-digital synthesis. By merging innovation with creativity, we transform education into the powerful methodology for cross-cultural research. We use the English language as a global bridge, ensuring that our arts and heritage remain visible, relevant, and sustainable in an increasingly digital landscape. Step into the future of cross-cultural discovery. We look forward to seeing you at ASICE 2026.
Discover the soul of humanity with the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. At the Faculty of Archaeology, we believe that true innovation stems from interdisciplinary synergy. As Thailand's only faculty dedicated to the profound study of humanity, from advanced excavation to ancient languages, we bridge the past and the future through the power of culture and language. As the primary host of ASICE2026, we are honored to work alongside our esteemed partner in the International University, Malaysia, and the Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn Anthropology Center. Together, we are creating a global platform where heritage meets digital humanities to foster sustainability in education and the arts. We invite you to be part of this inspiring academic journey. On behalf of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University, I look forward to welcoming you all to ASICE 2026 this August.
As the co-host and the official venue partner, the Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn Anthropology Center is honored to welcome you to ASICE 2026, a platform where global knowledge knows no bounds. A hybrid hub for global wisdom. Within these walls, we provide a space to explore the vital intersection of language and education and the cultural studies. Beyond tradition, we are a hub for digital humanities, utilizing technology to make cultural wisdom accessible to all. Our mission is to drive the Sustainable Development Goals by fostering a society rooted in inclusion, ethics, and a deep respect for human diversity. To ensure that every voice can be heard, ASICE 2026 is held in a hybrid format, You can join us on site here at our center to experience the vibrant atmosphere and networking opportunities, or participate online from anywhere in the world, breaking all barriers to learning. Whether we meet here in Bangkok or connect through the screen, we look forward to welcoming you on August 13 and 14 at ASICE2026. See you there.
We are surrounded by the echoes of our ancestors, yet much of our heritage remains locked in the past, static, silent, and slowly fading from our collective memory. The current situation requires more than just preservation. It requires engagement. By leveraging digital humanities, we can make our history dynamic, community-led, and accessible to all, bridging the gap between the ancient wisdom and a digital tomorrow. It is time to transform our heritage from a relic of the past into a living catalyst for the future. Join us as we explore the digital horizon of culture.
Is art just for galleries, or can it actually help save the world? We face complex global challenges that logic and data alone have not solved. For too long, we have viewed the art as luxury, a mere decoration to our lives rather than a necessity. The current situation demands a radical shift. Arts education is not just about aesthetics. It is a catalyst for sustainable action. By utilizing the creative process, we can spark social innovation and design tangible solutions for our planet's most pressing problems. It is time to pick up the brush of change, discover how creativity becomes the ultimate tool for a sustainable future.
Our history is fading. How do we bring it back to life for the next generation? Behind every relic lies a heartbeat. To remember is not to look backward, but to awaken our collective story. Is art just for galleries? Or can it actually help save the world? When imagination meets purpose, creativity becomes our most powerful tool for ecological and social harmony. In the digital age, is language just a way to speak? Or is it the data that connects our world? Language is the code of civilization. Through innovation, we translate diversity into universal understanding. In an era of rapid digital transformation, are we losing our connection to each other? Or can technology actually help us understand what it means to be human? At the intersection of human wisdom and digital horizons lies the true future of education. 4 interdisciplinary tracks, 1 shared mission, uniting language and education, cultural studies, digital humanities, and creative action for the Sustainable Development Goals.
At ASICE2026, we explore how creative actions breathe new life into our heritage. Here in our BA program in English at the Faculty of Archaeology, we are redefining the modern-day curriculum. We don't just teach English, but we also provide the linguistic key to digital humanities, where language meets data to uncover hidden patterns of our history. Our focus is the human-digital synthesis. By merging innovation with creativity, we transform education into the powerful methodology for cross-cultural research. We use the English language as a global bridge, ensuring that our arts and heritage remain visible, relevant, and sustainable in an increasingly digital landscape. Step into the future of cross-cultural discovery. We look forward to seeing you at ASICE 2026.
Discover the soul of humanity with the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. At the Faculty of Archaeology, we believe that true innovation stems from interdisciplinary synergy. As Thailand's only faculty dedicated to the profound study of humanity, from advanced excavation to ancient languages, we bridge the past and the future through the power of culture and language. As the primary host of ASICE2026, we are honored to work alongside our esteemed partner in the International University, Malaysia, and the Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn Anthropology Center. Together, we are creating a global platform where heritage meets digital humanities to foster sustainability in education and the arts. We invite you to be part of this inspiring academic journey. On behalf of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University, I look forward to welcoming you all to ASICE 2026 this August.
As the co-host and the official venue partner, the Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn Anthropology Center is honored to welcome you to ASICE 2026 a platform where global knowledge knows no bounds, a hybrid hub for global wisdom. Within these walls, we provide a space to explore the vital intersection of language and education and the cultural studies. Beyond tradition, we are a hub for digital humanities, utilizing technology to make cultural wisdom accessible to all. Our mission is to drive the Sustainable Development Goals by fostering a society rooted in inclusion, ethics, and a deep respect for human diversity. To ensure that every voice can be heard, ASICE2026 is held in a hybrid format. You can join us on site here at our center to experience the vibrant atmosphere and networking opportunities, or participate online from anywhere in the world, breaking all barriers to learning. Whether we meet here in Bangkok or connect through the screen, we look forward to welcoming you on August 13 and 14 at ASICE2026. See you there.
We are surrounded by the echoes of our ancestors, yet much of our heritage remains locked in the past, static, silent, and slowly fading from our collective memory. The current situation requires more than just preservation. It requires engagement. By leveraging digital humanity, we can make our history dynamic, community-led, and accessible to all, bridging the gap between the ancient wisdom and a digital tomorrow. It is time to transform our heritage from a relic of the past into a living catalyst for the future. Join us as we explore the digital horizon of culture.
Is art just for galleries, or can it actually help save the world? We face complex global challenges that logic and data alone have not solved. For too long, we have viewed the art as luxury, a mere decoration to our lives rather than a necessity. The current situation demands a radical shift. Arts education is not just about aesthetics. It is a catalyst for sustainable action. By utilizing the creative process, we can spark social innovation and design tangible solutions for our planet's most pressing problems. It is time to pick up the brush of change, discover how creativity becomes the ultimate tool for a sustainable future.
Our history is fading. How do we bring it back to life for the next generation? Behind every relic lies a heartbeat. To remember is not to look backward, but to awaken our collective story. Is art just for galleries? Or can it actually help save the world? When imagination meets purpose, creativity becomes our most powerful tool for ecological and social harmony. In the digital age, is language just a way to speak? Or is it the data that connects our world? Language is the code of civilization. Through innovation, we translate diversity into universal understanding. In an era of rapid digital transformation, are we losing our connection to each other? Or can technology actually help us understand what it means to be human? At the intersection of human wisdom and digital horizons lies the true future of education. 4 interdisciplinary tracks, 1 shared mission, uniting language and education, cultural studies, digital humanities, and creative action for the Sustainable Development Goals.
At ASICE2026, we explore how creative actions breathe new life into our heritage. Here in our BA program in English at the Faculty of Archaeology, we are redefining the modern-day curriculum. We don't just teach English, but we also provide the linguistic key to digital humanities, where language meets data to uncover hidden patterns of our history. Our focus is the human digital synthesis. By merging innovation with creativity, we transform education into the powerful methodology for cross-cultural research. We use the English language as a global bridge, ensuring that our arts and heritage remain visible, relevant, and sustainable in an increasingly digital landscape. Step into the future of cross-cultural discovery. We look forward to seeing you at ASICE 2026.
Discover the soul of humanity with the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University. At the Faculty of Archaeology, we believe that true innovation stems from interdisciplinary synergy. As Thailand's only faculty dedicated to the profound study of humanity, from advanced excavation to ancient languages, we bridge the past and the future through the power of culture and language. As the primary host of ASICE2026, we are honored to work alongside our esteemed partner, International University, Malaysia, and the Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn Anthropology Center. Together, we are creating a global platform where heritage meets digital humanities to foster sustainability in education and the arts. We invite you to be part of this inspiring academic journey. On behalf of the Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakorn University, I look forward to welcoming you all to ASICE 2026 this August.
As the co-host and the official venue partner, the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Anthropology Center is honored to welcome you to ASICE 2026, a platform where global knowledge knows no bounds, a hybrid hub for global wisdom. Within these walls, we provide a space to explore the vital intersection of language and education and the cultural studies. Beyond tradition, we are a hub for digital humanities, utilizing technology to make cultural wisdom accessible to all. Our mission is to drive the Sustainable Development Goals by fostering a society rooted in inclusion, ethics, and a deep respect for human diversity. To ensure that every voice can be heard, ASICE 2026 is held in a hybrid format. You can join us on site here at our center to experience the vibrant atmosphere and networking opportunities, or participate online from anywhere in the world, breaking all barriers to learning. Whether we meet here in Bangkok or connect through the screen, we look forward to welcoming you on August 13 and 14 at ASICE 2026. See you there.
We are surrounded by the echoes of our ancestors, yet much of our heritage remains locked in the past, static, silent, and slowly fading from our collective memory. The current situation requires more than just preservation. It requires engagement by leveraging digital humanity. We can make our history dynamic, community-led, and accessible to all, bridging the gap between the ancient wisdom and a digital tomorrow. It is time to transform our heritage from a relic of the past into a living catalyst for the future. Join us as we explore the digital horizon of culture.
Is art just for galleries, or can it actually help save the world? We face complex global challenges that logic and data alone have not solved. For too long, we have viewed the art as luxury, a mere decoration to our lives rather than a necessity. The current situation demands a radical shift. Arts education is not just about aesthetics. It is a catalyst for sustainable action. By utilizing the creative process, we can spark social innovation and design tangible solutions for our planet's most pressing problems. It is time to pick up the brush of change, discover how creativity becomes the ultimate tool for a sustainable future.
Our history is fading. How do we bring it back to life for the next generation? Behind every relic lies a heartbeat. To remember is not to look backward, but to awaken our collective story. Is art just for galleries, or can it actually help save the world? When imagination meets purpose, creativity becomes our most powerful tool for ecological and social harmony. In the digital age, is language just a way to speak? Or is it the data that connects our world? Language is the code of civilization. Through innovation, we translate diversity into universal understanding. In an era of rapid digital transformation, are we losing our connection to each other, or can technology
refreshments and fruitful conversations. We will now proceed directly to our plenary sessions, where we deep dive into the specialized tracks that form the core pillars of ASICE 2026.
So we'll begin with track 1, Language and Education, focusing on innovative pedagogy and linguistic agility. To unpack this, please welcome our first plenary speaker, Dr. Rene Chiu Thuyn Yi, who will address Beyond Words, Building Real-World Linguistics Agility for the Global Stage. So this floor is yours, Dr. Rene.
A very good morning to distinguished guests. and keynote speakers, and also the conference participants. Sawadika Kumpujong. If I actually get my Thai right. Okay. I'm actually honored to be here today, basically to talk about a recent research that I venture into. Can I have a show of hands, like how many English teachers are here? Great. So I'm not quite sure. Later on, we probably can discuss a little bit on my strategy of teaching in terms of pedagogy, how we can actually encourage our students to speak, right? In my today's session, by the way, I'm Rene. I'm from International University, right? So today, this plenary session, I'm going to talk about beyond words, building real-world linguistic agility for the global stage. Okay. Let's look at the problem nowadays that we face. Okay, because I have English teachers, right, in this hall. I'm sure that you agree with me, right? The problems that we face, okay? Students, they can achieve really well. I'm not quite sure because some of the students that I have, okay, PhD students, postgraduate students, they can achieve IELTS 6.0, 7.0. But when you ask them, what did you do last night? Where did you go? How is your weekend? They will stare at you. So when I ask students, so you are interested to do this piece of research. So what is the research problem that you're looking at? They kept quiet. Do you face the same thing? Right? It's because sometimes, okay, that is a misalignment. As you can see from here, our academic paradigm, we are emphasizing more on written assessments. We are looking at vocabulary, okay, acquisition, how accurate it is, how you pronounce certain words, rather than language, okay, the language used for communication, right? So when you're moving on to the real world reality, okay, that is when you start speaking, okay, everything is immediate, okay, immediate conversational, and also you must have human interaction. Okay, nothing you can actually start, I would say, more to like memorizing. Okay, I have students telling me, in a day, I memorize 50 vocab, 50 new words. So when I ask that, okay, why are you memorizing those words? Why? Well, because I just feel that, I learn new words. But how do you use the word? What is the meaning of the word? Do you know how to use it? Teacher, I'm not sure. Okay, so if it is in terms of memorization, okay, that students are looking at, how can the student communicate effectively and confidently? Okay, so these are some of the paradox, okay? Like I've said, that students can actually obtain 6.0, 7.0 for IELTS, okay? But all this doesn't actually translate spontaneous real-world conversation. So when you get them to speak, when you get them to present, okay, that is basically very, very hard for them, okay? So it's the hardest task ever. If you get them to write, that's fine, especially with the use of ChatGPT, yeah? Yes? ChatGPT, Gemini, right? Which I think is pretty normal. But then again, when it comes to speaking, they might actually, suffer a little bit and they might not be confident, okay? And also, fear of making grammatical mistakes can lead to cognitive freezing and conversational paralysis. Now, what do you mean by that? They want to get every word correct. They are so concerned about the meaning of the word. Do I actually pronounce it right? Or in a very funny way, okay? And the last one will be in terms of memorization, okay? So when you memorize dialogues, We can't memorize. Can we memorize dialogues, ladies and gentlemen? Can we? We can't. Okay, so it happens spontaneously. Responses, everything is spontaneous. Okay, so what I'm going to touch on the agile expression over here, okay, is that I will look at adaptive thinking. Okay, meaning to say that ability to instantly rephrase thoughts, shifts conversational direction, responds fluidly to sudden contextual shift. There is no such thing as being prepared, okay, like now, right? So we always actually encourage students to speak spontaneously and of course confidently. Some of them, they know what it is, but then again, it's very hard for them to express their ideas, okay? Regardless whether it's a presentation, whether it's a proposal defense session, or in terms of viva presentation, okay? So I'm going to turn this into metaphorical thinking as well. Later, I'm going to explain a little bit on what I've actually done to my postgraduate students, okay, the methodology, right? That is to use the 3D conceptual representation to translate complex abstract ideas into accessible verbal communication, okay? So how that actually reduce, okay, the affective filter itself, okay? And lastly, in terms of psychological safety, they might want to actually feel safe, okay? They don't want to be judged, okay? Some mistakes, okay, that you basically make it big, okay? You zoom into the mistakes rather than, focusing in improving, okay, the conversation itself. So let's look at part 1, okay, which basically Lego Serious Play. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Lego Serious Play, LSP. My colleagues over here, all my colleagues, co-researchers, right, of this research. Okay, as you can see, okay, the figure over here, okay, how many of you have not played with Lego before? Lego. You've heard what Lego, how it looks like? The little bricks over here. Yes, I think I see some nods at back, right? So, fun to play with? Yes? Good to play with, fun to play with, okay? So, I use Lego to teach language in terms of speaking, okay? Later I will share with you how I've actually done that, okay? So, first and foremost, students must feel safe, okay? As I mentioned earlier, the problem is that assessment, when it comes to tests, assessment, evaluation, that's where problems actually comes in. Students feel stressed out. The anxiety is there. So if I actually turn learning into a more gamified environment, this is what is going to happen. Okay, so I will explain a little bit on what is it all about. So you can see how these bricks are being used, okay, in my research, okay, in my teaching itself. These are all my students. You can see a few of them there, right? So first and foremost, I will use the gamifying conversational rules, okay, whereby language is no longer, okay, the language mistakes are no longer academic penalties. So if you spell something wrong, if you say something wrong, I will penalize you. I will minus your marks. No. And always I've been telling my students, whatever that you build, okay, you have a reason for it. And there's no one straightforward answer, just like doing maths. You have one particular correct answer, okay? For here, in terms of language, okay, whichever, okay, can you see the little figure over here? They use like different, I would call as metaphors. They use different figures to build up their models. For as long as they can justify why I built in such a way. They talk to me, okay? Why is the elephant doing that, okay? Elephant, as you can see, is just a great elephant. But if you use it as a representative metaphor, it could mean something that is strong. So not necessarily that it has to be, representing an elephant, okay? Which I think Elephant is, I find elephants a lot in Thailand. Okay, so it actually represents something that's strong. So if you add something on top of it, it's a different thing. So the green thing could actually represent nature and so on. So you give meanings to the brick itself. Okay, bricks are, meaningless, but you give meanings to the bricks. Okay, so by introducing random scenario prompts, okay, secret objective cards and so on, all these active strategy players actually comes in. Okay, they are able to participate confidently. So reason why students are so afraid to speak up is because they are not confident. Okay, so now with the bricks, all right, they build up, they have fun, more like they are not actually getting stressed. They have fun, they enjoy the building up the bricks, and they will present to you. They will tell you what is it all about. Okay, now these game mechanics in language learning. Okay, over here I will give them a scenario. Okay, so scenario could be anything. All right, let's say I want them to start up with. Okay, basically like the ice breaking session. Okay, I will get my students to say that you build a tower for me. Okay, but you ain't a tower with the blue brick. Okay, so they are given like bricks, similar ones, or the ones that they can choose. Okay, from the big sets. Okay, of the the Lego itself, right? So this will actually give them something that is unpredictable. So I give you the scenario. Okay. Second of all, the secret objective over here, of course, every I would say activity that they do. Okay, the scenario given to them, they will have different work choice and also in terms of skillful language maneuvering. Meaning to say that the titles, the activities will not be the same. They might be using like different vocabulary, okay, to present their models. Okay. Last one, in terms of the team quest that you can see from here, okay, not only that students are working individually, okay, they actually work in a group itself. Okay, sometimes working in a group to solve problems. Okay. Next, you can see, all right, dismantling the language anxiety. You can see the smiley faces here. Do they look stressed? They don't look stressed. Okay, so this is what we want to do, because in Malaysia, right, some of the students, when it comes to English classes, they will feel that, oh, okay, what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to memorize all these things, the exam questions. I'm going to go for my tests, my exams, whichever it is, just to complete assessments. Okay, but then again, that actually contradicts with whatever the real world wants. Okay, so of course, when you have gamification coming in, okay, LSC is part of gamification, okay, concept. We actually trigger high, okay, I would say that the traditional one will trigger high effective filters, okay, you make them stress. But then again, if you actually have activities as framed, okay, as collaborative games, they work in a group, they come up with a model, it could be anything, okay. That's why as educator, we have to be creative. So when you are planning LSP, okay, using the LSP methodology, right, in terms of planning, lesson plans, everything is a little bit different compared to the traditional lesson plans, okay? And number two, we are looking at the methodology, okay? As I mentioned, LSP is a methodology, right? And we're looking at, again, these are the students. When they are presenting their model, okay? If you actually get them to do presentation by just using PowerPoint slides, okay, you will see they are really stressed out. But as time goes by, okay, you can see that once you hold the model, the way that they actually explain, okay, what they have built, they build up the confidence. Of course, I have a span of 4 different workshops. First workshop, not so much because they're still shy, they still have a bit of anxiety. As the time goes by, second workshop, third, fourth, and so on and so forth, they are getting more and more confident. Okay, right? So this is in terms of the key benefits over here is to explain the model instead of having to defend themselves. Okay, so what they have built, even the colors, okay, the brick, what does it actually represent? Okay, so you give meaning to the brick itself, right? It's your definition. So let's look at the linguistic flexibility. So first and foremost, okay, in terms of metaphors, okay. Now, concrete metaphors over here, bricks allow students to represent themes, emotions, and also complex linguistic structures that have yet to be verbally articulated. So when they are building, okay, maybe the first session, they might not know what they should do, okay? As time goes by, they are getting better and better, okay? So when I start to build something, okay, why I put such base? Okay, the base has to be strong. So I use a bigger piece of the brick, okay, to sustain the base and then build something on top. Okay, so they will start planning, presentation, the word used, all will be there. Okay, second of all, 100% voice guarantee, right? So all of them will have equal speaking presentation time. Okay, now just a little I would say that note that I would like to share. When I conduct the workshop, okay, I will limit the students, okay, or participants to 25 at max. Because you want to give opportunity to each and everyone to speak up, all right, to present their models itself, okay? And last one will be externalized defense, okay? So as I mentioned earlier, students actually defend and explain the model, okay, rather themselves. Okay, so it's more to like how to justify the model that they have actually built. Okay, let's look at the LSP language learning cycle, right? First and foremost, I will get students to build something for me. Of course, the title, the activity, all right, whichever will be given, all right, I will plan beforehand, right? And students might not know. So when they come in, all right, I will do an ice-breaking session with them, okay? For example, I can do any ice-breaking session. Let's say while using just the red and the yellow brick, build me a duck, okay? The quack quack, the duck, okay? So in a sense that there you can see many ducks. I can see Peking duck, duck from Beijing, duck swimming duck is swimming, okay? Duck is standing around the bushes. You can see a lot of creativity in them, okay? Not just the language itself, the presentation, but a lot of creativity from the students, okay? And how to solve the problem, okay? Problem solving skills actually comes in as well, okay? And after that, they tell the story, okay? So they tell me why I built the duck. Some of the ducks are like, the duck is sleeping. Some of them, they're walking. Some of them is like, they actually told me, it's swimming. That's why you don't see the legs, right? So they tell me the story. As I say that, it's no right or wrong. We're not doing maths as per se, right? So next one, in terms of to negotiate, synthesize team models into a shared 3D story. So one example I can give you is that individually, I want them to tell me what are the challenges, okay? What are the challenges that they face when they do their postgraduate studies? So they build their individual models, okay? And then I will get them to combine together to work in a group. So every one of you will have different challenges, okay? So how do you prioritize? Which one, okay, that you feel the most? So some will say that, oh, this is resources, in terms of language, blah, 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 and so on. Okay, so they will start ranking. They will start presenting the models in, a sequence, right? And of course, lastly, in terms of reflection, okay, spontaneous peer Q&A and linguistic problem solving. Now, I bet a lot of us like face problems, okay? Students want to go for presentation. Anyone can present. Even you read from the, the script itself, you can present. So when it comes to Q&A, don't ask me so many questions because I don't know how to answer questions. Okay, so LSPD's methodology, okay, is also to encourage students to ask questions, how you handle questions, and so on. Because we will ask, definitely, why you put the black brick right below? Why is it the little human on top? Why do you have a flag on top? A lot of whys coming in. So you will have the Q&A session, okay? So students will start answering. So this actually encourage them, okay, to handle the Q&A session well, not just presentation. Okay? So you have more pictures that I would like to share, okay, with you of what the students have built. I have individual work, and also I have students who actually come in, build individually. They actually work in a group. So in the sense that LSP is not basically just focusing on individual work, but also students can work collaboratively. So more pictures, right? So some of the standards I have, big sets like this, okay? Sometimes students will have to make their decision as well. So if I want to build something is in my mind, okay? What sort of bricks should I choose, right? So they do have a choice, right? To choose whatever bricks that they want, okay? In terms of colors, in terms of shapes, everything is there. There's some small little figures and so on, okay? Whereby they used to build all these different models, okay? That could be representing their research or could be representing themselves, right? So you can see here, right? So all these are, my workshop pictures and a little bit more. So you can see that all of them, they are coming together. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them, they're working on a single problem. And then after that, they come together. Okay, they come together collaboratively, they discuss the problem. And finally, in terms of presenting what they have agreed upon, right? Like I said, one example is challenges, okay? What are the challenges that they face when they come in as a PhD student? Okay, so you can see very interesting. Now this elephant is sleeping over there. I bet that everything is sleeping. So it could be how they actually feel in terms of their emotions, okay? That things might not be going right. And sometimes you won't be surprised that the little lion over here, it represents the teacher, okay? I don't know why they actually use lion, okay, or tiger to represent the teacher, or maybe we are just a little bit too scary or strict, right? Now, when we look at the recipient, okay, which is our student, okay, and also in terms of how you actually transform them, okay? So if you have a traditional learner, which is we are looking at teaching through textbooks, okay? Or maybe other ways of teaching, very traditional way of teaching, then you're looking at just focusing on avoiding grammar errors. Everything has to be accurate, okay? And the high cognitive fatigue will come in. They will hate the language, trust me, okay? They will hate the language in the sense that why I can't actually excel. Why can I actually communicate effectively, okay? So when you actually look at the gamified tactile learner, all right, which is, I could actually transform my student, okay, to construct original metaphorical narratives, okay, how they build up the model and how they actually justify their models. Use language strategically to solve challenges, okay, not one thing that they can actually memorize, okay? So in terms of the word use, the choice of words, everything will be very different from one activity to another. And achieve flow state and also spontaneous fluency. So nothing can be memorized. So you go on maybe in front of the class, okay? Then you will start telling me, all right, what is your model all about? Why is the choice of color that way? Why do you actually put that figure, okay, left or right, and so on, okay? Now, this is a very important thing, we as educators, okay? So when educators create a classroom, that is a living landscape. Language learning moves from textbooks to an experiential reality where students embrace conversational risk. Now, early in the morning, we have session full of love, okay, from Prof. Teerakiat. And also we have something to do with culture from Prof. Rasmi. And also Prof. Chol actually looked at quality of education. So all these things actually number together, all these aspects are important when we look at quality of education. So are we teaching our students right? Or are we actually moving back to the very traditional way of teaching, right? So this will be the last session, okay? The implementation and strategic outcomes, okay? And I would like to share the little roadmap. So first and foremost, we actually built sandbox rules, okay? Whereby students feel safe. It's okay for me to make mistakes, okay? So when you have a sandbox, it's basically you're doing some experiment, you're safe, you're not being judged of the mistakes that you made, right? Rather than a way of you exercising or perhaps, practicing, okay, what is, the vocab is all about, okay, the use of words, the vocabs and so on, okay? And you have the warm-up builds, okay, as I've said that before I move on to the third stage, okay, always I get my students to build something interesting for me, okay? Like, let's say I want you to build a bridge for me. So want that all to be, in gray. So you only use the gray bricks or maybe in terms of the blue bricks to build up the bridge, okay? So here you have the warm-up, okay? That has to, every session you must have a warm-up, okay? Just to do some recalling, all right? And the third one will be in terms of gamified quests, okay, whereby the real challenge actually comes in, okay? So basically, I get students to build up, let's say, research problem. Can you actually build something, okay, using Lego, the bricks itself, to tell me what is your research problem? So interestingly, that you will see how they build up their models and so on, right, to represent their research problems, okay? And of course, lastly, in terms of agile fluency, okay, things had to be spontaneous and also the cross-cultural communication actually comes in, okay? So a lot of them, like I said, that's not maths, okay? Bricks, they have different representation, okay? From the student itself, you give meanings to the brick itself. So as you can see over here, okay, to sum up in terms of the pedagogical methodology comparison, on this particular route itself, okay, traditional rote learning, okay, again, memorization. You have drills, okay, the traditional way of learning the language, right? And of course, in terms of once you make mistakes, right, this is what is going to happen to you, to our students. I'm going to deduct your marks, okay, the grade reduction, right? And also in terms of, I would say, expression medium, right? Students are not able to express themselves, okay? And when you put them to actually communicate with someone, right, using English, that's where they will start worrying, okay? Whether did I actually express myself right? Did I use the right word? Will I actually say something to, it's embarrassing, okay? How would that be, right? So written test, statics, dialogues is whereby they start memorizing dialogues. I remember the time when I learned English, as whereby I learned how to memorize dialogues. Exactly in exam, okay, hall, I will fill in the blanks. This is what I actually memorize, okay? High anxiety, passive recipients. So when it comes to English classes, I don't allow students to sit still. They have to move around. So when you have LSP, they will move around, they will start discussing, they will start solving problems, selecting the bricks, how am I going to build out the bricks? They have to start thinking. A lot of creativity comes in, problem-solving skills, and also critical thinking comes in, okay? So when you look at the gamified tactile, okay, on the other hand, you look at the linguistic flexibility and also adaptive thinking, because spontaneously, okay, this is what's going to happen, okay, and I'm going to communicate that way, right? And also in terms of, this is a game, okay, strategy adjustments. In terms of the models, right, you build models. You don't have the same models. Always I tell my students, please focus on your own models. Don't look at how other people build, because that's not yours, okay? Your feelings, your emotions, all comes from you, right? And after that, we can actually do a group work, okay? Group work, which whereby they will present their models first, okay, to their peers, maybe in the same group, okay? Now, lastly, psychological safety. Not only that, they feel safe, they won't feel very stressed out in a sense, okay? But if you get them to do presentation, PowerPoint presentation, they will get very stressed out, okay? Or maybe ask them to talk about themselves, okay? Have you actually tried using Lego, get them to build something that reflects themselves? You will actually be surprised of the result, okay? And being an active creator, okay? Creativity actually comes in, okay? Now, to sum up with, all these 21st century graduate attributes, okay? We want our graduates, okay, to learn beyond grammar, okay? Aligning tactile gamification with critical thinking, as I mentioned earlier, cross-cultural collaboration, and emotional intelligence. All these are very important. They don't want to feel, you want them to feel confident, okay, in terms of speaking out, all right? Be vocal about things, being able to express themselves, okay? Especially those, who are actually in the postgraduate level, right? Whereby a lot of presentation actually comes in, not only just proposal defense, Viva, they have to involve in conferences, okay? Conference presentations like what my students are doing here today, right? Now, also look at future-proofing graduates, okay? Now we are in the AI era, I would say, okay? Whereby your human agility and metaphorical communication are very, very vital. I yet to actually discover, perhaps venture into this research, like how I'm going to integrate AI into LSP. So more to come if you're interested. Maybe we can actually have a chat later on, okay? And also in terms of employability impact, whereby, okay, your graduate adaptability and also real-time problem-solving skills are very important, okay? Which is whereby my LSP, LSP methodology over here, not only just emphasizing on how students play, okay? That's why Lego serious play, right? It's playing seriously, okay? Not just building up, okay? Like, Duplo, I'm not sure, because if you're a Lego fan, you will probably know what is Duplo. So if you're a fan of Lego, you have technique as well. So I'm a fan of Lego, right? And I'm actually really excited, okay, to look at how LSP can actually help in language learning. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and hope that this is a useful session for all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Rene, very much. I totally agree about those psychological safety for students, and absolutely all educators think this is the matter one. And now we're going to move next, okay? For the plenary.
Okay, we now move to track 2, Cultural Studies, Heritage and Communication, Exploring Identity and the Communication of Cultural Assets. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Vipat Purishanon, presenting a brilliant perspective on curating connectivity, Nirad, New York, and art history in the present tense. A warm welcome to Dr. Vipat.
So, good morning. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm actually, thank you, Professor Rene, who present before me. I think to talk about the learning and creativities, I think the art history is a history of how we study human creativities. And I hope these exhibitions that I'm going to present will somehow resonates with the morning sessions. I want to begin with the body of materials that was under, until recently, diapers, artwork, letters, photograph, portfolio pages, and personal record produced during the years of Thai artist Kamin Lerchaiprasert, spending in New York between approximately 1987 and 1992. These materials were brought together for the first time in the exhibition titled Nirad New York that I curated recently. This period precedes the practice of which Kamin later became widely recognized. He has engaged with Buddhist thoughts, conceptual process, everyday life, participations, and alternative form of arts, artistic and social organizations. My purpose here is not to recover an early chapter of a biographies, nor to treat the archive as a hidden origins from which the later work can be explained backwards. But I would like to use this as an example to demonstrate how curatorial practice could make art history present. Can you see that? Okay. So let's begin with this. Kamin sent a letter from New York to a teacher and mentor in Thailand. During the early years of his stay, he reports on that, what he's doing, what he was encountering, and how his life and his work will develop into a familiar environments. From the art historical perspective, these questions we ask of such an object are familiar and indispensable. What it was produced, to whom was it addressed, what relationships or what artistic process does the documents, how does it relate to the work Kamin was making at the time, what does it permit us to say with confidence, and what remain uncertain. Those questions establish the letter as evidence. They prevent interpretation from drifting away from the material fact. But the letter also occupied the second temporality. It was written as a private correspondence in the late 1980s. It was not made as an artwork, nor as a document, nor as anything intended to be seen. In 2026, it is being selected, interpreted, exhibits, and digitized. A communications addressed to one person has acquired functions that neither the author nor the recipients anticipates. The object has not materially changed, the conditions of its intangibilities have. In the exhibition, the letter was arranged beside these. The formal type cover letters come in sent to Bronx Museum in the United States. The contrast is the argument in the images. The type letter presents the artist professionally to the institution who recognized him, he was seeking. The handwritten letters sustain an emotional and intellectual connections with the artistic community he has left behind. One is the attempt to enter the new artistic world, the other an effort to hold on to the one he came from. He wrote each letter in a different readers for a different purpose, and almost certainly never saw them side by side. A just positions is something that exhibition produce. It is not a fact recovered from the 1989. It is the relation constructed in the present. And this is precisely the point where art history began to become something else. So the question I want to put to you methodologically is how might art historical research move beyond the reconstruction of the past context and become a curatorial practice capable of producing a new relations among the objects, history, institutions, and the publics. I will answer this through three propositions. One is the curatorial extent of art history rather than the replacing it. The second is the Asian artists abroad should not be understood as traveling from periphery towards a center in order to receive contemporaneity. And the third, that the particular record of movement and encounter has been urgent now amid the newly nationalisms, restricted migrations, and the visible weakening of our earlier promise of global connectivities. Let's begin with the archive. Letter is both directions, photographs, portfolio pages, applications to art institution and residency, sketches, notebooks. My engagement with this began 3 years ago with my team at Wedding You Curator Lab. We are organizing the laboratory in which we work with the archive. I want you to notice what is not here, which is coherence. The New Yorkers are less familiar to the practice to which Kamin always enter Thailand and international art history, and it would be easy to treat them as a missing chapter to be completed. But recovering these periods is not filling a gap of chronology. It is recovering the moments before the artist's identity has extravated. These are experiments where that lead toward a later concerns. There are also abandoned directions, temporary languages, unresolved ambitions, and kind of uncertainty that vanish from the retrospectively coherent image of an extra-rich artist. A developmental account treats earlier work as valuable because it is anticipated in a major work. I want to ask the opposite questions. What become invisible when the earlier work make meaningful only through which came after? What if this is not the origin of unknown destinations, but the records of several possible futures, only some of which were realized? Then the archive is evidence not of continuity, but of contingency. So this project began with art history because it involved curatorials. This kind of historical methods has been suspended by some more experimental and discursive. And this is not my positions. Art historical research is what makes archive legible at all. It's extra with chronology, identifying objects, compare sources, reconstruct institutional context, and distinguish evidence made at the time of the from memory formulation afterward. It's also a discipline how we read artistic development. Once you know the letter come in, it's become very tempting to read even earlier work as embryonic version of him. History is what resists that temptations. It let us encounter with the artist while his direction was still unresolved. Before the coherence of the career has been manufactured by exhibition, criticism, collections, and retrospective accounts. Art history in this sense reconstruct not a sequence of objects, but historical worlds of uncertainty. The curator begins with the work and asks one further questions. Not only what the object can tell us about the world it came from, but what relation it can produce within the present. These are not oppositions. The second depend entirely on the first. Without historical reconstruction, curatorial activation is arbitrary. Without curatorial activation, the archives stay a closed body to evidence available to only the specialists. The movement is one emphasis for explaining the object inside of its original context towards constructing the relationships through which it enters into a new public situations. The object remains evidence. It's also become a connector. So to curator, let me state this more precisely about the curatorials. Formally, Lin's Curating named the professional operations of selecting, commissioning, interpreting, installing, and presenting, but the curatorial cannot be reduced to those tracks. It's named the production of relations among the artworks, people, histories, institution, and public. Meaning is not exhausted by the object formal and iconographic quality. It's also emerged through the proximity, displacement, comparison, frictions, and contradictions. In New York, the archive material does not simply explain the artwork, and the artwork does not merely aesthetize the archive. The relationship between them is in itself the curatorial materials. A later disclosed condition absent from the finished work, and earlier work complicate the later autographical accounts. These materials trace and revise one another. Edith Rogoff extend this to the relations to knowledge. If an exhibition is a presentation of research competing elsewhere, the sequence stay conventionals. Rogoff lets us treat the encounter among the objects, arrangement, arguments, and audience as itself the site where knowledge is produced. The exhibition became an event of knowledge, provisional, situated, and capable of generating questions unavailable at the start. That's also changed the curator's propositions. One doesn't approach the archive from the place of neutralities. I returned to the United States in 2023 at my formal school in Chicago for the program that concerned with anti-racism. I found a country more guarded and more visibly organized to which the policing of differences than the connected world I remember. This does not make my journey equivalent to what Carmen did 30 years ago, but it marked a moment in which the archive became urgent to me. So what's the archive become under these methods? It's remained a repository, but it's also become relational fields, connecting different time, place, media, and framework. The object remain evidence, but it's also become propositionals. Chronology remain necessity, but it is supplemented by constellations, and this is very important. Placing material from different moments in relations, not to claim them as the same, but to make them resonance in a different perceptions. And preservation remain essentials, but an archive that cannot be found, accessed, and reused is publicly inactive. I would summarize it into 4 forms: recover, to reconstruct diverse and uninterrupted evidence; relate, to connect the evidence to the wider structure; reframe, to translate those relationships into the public form; recirculations, to build an infrastructure to which the materials and the knowledge produced around them stay accessible, reusable, and open to revisions. These are recursive, not sequentials. A recovered document altered the exhibitions. The exhibition exposed an absence of the archive. These archives changed the exhibitions in the way that the exhibition also changed the archive. The contingency is the archive is not only biographical. 3 years, these years sit on a historical threshold between the later Asian modernism and the emerge of the contemporaneity. John Clark's account of the Asian modernism is useful because it's refused to treat modern and contemporary arts as a universal stage that originates in Euro-America and alive elsewhere later on. For Clark, artistic modernity in Asia developed both in parallel with and in relation to Euro-America modernity through distinct institution, political history, and patterns of mobility. In the late 1980s and early 90s, form overlaps. In which national and modernist structure were still active, while biennials transnational network and post-colonial discord will begin to organize how the artists from Asia enter the international art history. Come in New York here, sit inside this overlap. Now, the conventional questions about such a journey is, what did New York does to come in? This question preserved New York as an active center and the artist as a material transformed by exposed to it. The wording approach of John Clark can let us think differently. So what we should ask is actually, what did Kamin brings from Silpakorn, as he is a Silpakorn graduated from Bangkok, where he lived and stayed, and from Thailand. And what these prior formations make New York capable of becoming of Kamin. So he did not arrive empty subject, awaiting for contemporaneity. He arrived with educations, with cultural memories, with relationship to his teachers, with his artists at home, with all his community, with a different kind of political and philosophical questions, different kind of linguistic habit, and different kind of sense of how to be an artist. So that should shape what he could perceive, value, resist, and translate. Movements doesn't connect to stable place, it's alter the meaning of both. Bangkok is remember and reconstruct to New York. New York is interpreted through expectation from Thailand. The mobile artist doesn't cross passively between finished world. To encounter translation, resistance, and return, the artists participate in the making of them. So this is where the Thai literature form, Nirat, become essentials, not only as an exhibition title, but as a method. Nirat is conventionally associated with traveling, separations, memory, and longing. What interests me is its structure, a divided presence. The traveler is physically in one place while remember imaginatively and emotionally attached to another. This structure were already in the work that come in practice. After returning to New York, Kamin present an exhibition called Nirat Thailand Drawing to Spirit at Silpakorn University in 1992. The project turned into traveling, writing, photographing, drawing, and bodily actions into a continuous artistic process. His return was not restorations of a stable home. Thailand has to be encountered again through a perceptions altered by distance. What has once been familiar could not only be seen through the experience of elsewhere. In the conventional form, the traveler leaves home and long for what has been left behind. Here, Kamin has already returned. Several decades later, the exhibition retraced the archive in the opposite directions from the present. Look back toward New York. The longing is directions not at home, but at the place of departure. And its object is not New York as a city. It is a historical and existential conditions, a period in which Kamin identified the identity was still unresolved, in which several artistic futures remain available to him, and in which the Thailand's relationship to the international art world appear to be opening. So the exhibition is a reverse journey, mixed to letters, photograph, applications, and artworks. The archive does not the archive does not supply a complete roots. It supplies fragments from which the journey has been reconstructed. And I just maybe talk about a few artwork that we show with the archive. So one of them is a sketch of the artwork by the artist in 1990s. And this is a work where he worked on the questions of the arts. And then he started to do a print, a lithographic print where the art will turn upside down. before the image. After the first version, the artist made this sketch, which is, if you can see, it's just the statues of the Buddha at Puttamonton. So it's just, close by. He didn't do the lithograph afterwards. He somehow stopped or abandoned the question of what is art, and then started to do began a new question of what is Thai arts, especially like in the contemporary world. And I thought of this as one of the fine archive where we found it kind of like buried in the cage somewhere in artist studio. The second example is quite different. This is where he worked or interested in children arts, and then started to make exhibitions in the children art way. These were depicted not only this series were depicted not only in New York but also Thailand, and it wasn't really the representations of a view or landscape of New York, but what he thought of New York intuitively. So in the way, this is the artistic practice where he abandoned. So we only have this series across 2 years of productions, and after that he moved to do something else. So this is the directions where I said it's like it's diverted. It's not really in the records. But through the process of the archiving and studying of the artists, we began to find that during these 5 years of his foundation years, we thought of it as everything everywhere all at once. So the artist produced work not only in New York but also in Thailand when he visited, and it's in very directions all over the place. And somehow we were joking that in terms of productivity, he even more productive than we are right now in doing all this. So I want to go back to, where I start to finish this. If we consider the letter again, it's actually do 4 things at once as well. First thing is evidentiaries. So it's extra with date, place, relationships, and concerns. It's also biographical. It let us reconstruct the experience of the young artist living abroad. It's art historical as it situates the experience within the overlap between the Asian moderns and the emerging contemporary. And it's curatorial because it's placed between artwork, the other documents and literary forms, and a set of present questions. It's become a connector among several worlds. It's bring Bangkok into New York and New York into Bangkok. It cannot connect us only artists' private uncertainties to the changing international infrastructure of contemporary arts. It shows how individual experience of distance can participate in the historical reorganization of Asia relationships to Euro-America. The object does not simply represent the world that already exists. Through interpretation and relations, it participates in the worlding and rewording of the world. In this sense, the exhibition does not illustrate an argument formulated in advance. Its spatial arrangement is itself a mode of historical reasoning. Works are placed between documents so that the neither is subordinates. The documents are not reduced to context. The work are not isolated as autonomous achievement. It's also refused narrative closure. Some dates remain provisional. Some identifications are uncertain. Some connections are interpretative. The curatorial task is not to conceal this behind the appearance of the authorities. it is to construct the argument precisely enough to be meaningful, while staying transparent about the limits of what we can do. The exhibition is not the final representation of the archive. It is one situates that articulated. And the exhibition is temporary. The closing does not mark the end of the curatorial process. We are working on a website, and we hope that it extends the project into different durations. So with this extent of the exhibitions, I want to suggest something quite interesting when we talk about what we have in the morning. The question of infrastructure, even though it will somehow grow with the development in digitalizations, what I found that quite intriguing is that before digital humanities, for art history, I think we still need human for digitizing our culture heritage. And I think we need a lot of humans to do that. So I want to end with these propositions. Art history reconstructs the condition from which the object emerged, introducing the uncertainty to the past that has not yet resolved itself into a career. The curator does something further, is bring objects, document histories, institutions, and present question into relations. Construct a public situation in which historical materials can generate meaning that has not arrival inside the original context. The contribution of Nirad New York is not only the recovery of one period of life of one artist. It proposed that the art history can become a public and ongoing curatorial method, one that reconnects historical materials to the present, while keeping their meaning open to scrutiny and transformations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vipat. Interpreting art history indeed provides a powerful lens and dialogue to cultivate deeper social connectivity today.
Okay. And our last plenary speaker for this morning brings us a full circle to intersection of arts, humanities, and advanced technology under the track number 3, Digital Humanities. Please welcome Dr. Napat Paisan Watana from the Faculty of Archaeology, English Section, Silpakorn University, presenting the Human Digital Synthesis, New Methodologies for Cross-Cultural Research. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Napat.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's always a challenge to be the last session before lunch, right? Because now everybody is thinking about lunch, right? And as I walked into the room, one of the MC actually asked me, "What are we going to have for lunch?" Right? So that says a lot about how hungry he is. But I'm gonna make sure that my talk is tasty and delicious enough for you to feel hungry for. So. My talk is Human Digital Synthesis, new methodologies for cross-cultural research in the age of artificial intelligence. And I guess I need to put the rationale of my talk forward right now. I guess there are two principal reasons why we need to talk about this topic. First is AI is perhaps, I would argue, one of the most talked about words in academia in the past 2 to 3 years, not only in formal academic settings such as conferences, symposium, or training programs, but also in informal interaction with your colleagues, in departmental meetings, in supervision with your students. So that in itself is a testament of how important, right, this concept is. The second and perhaps more important reason why I think we need to talk about this is, I guess, there has been an overly positive outlook on the potential of AI in education and in many other aspects of our society. People go to AI conferences, people go to AI training expected to find solution to their problems, right? They expect to find convenient way of doing research, convenient way of teaching student convenient way of learning or mastering new skill set. However, I don't think enough has been talked about the potential downside of relying on AI too much, right? You know, as a researcher and also as a human being. So the first thing that I would like to do is to ask all of us to take a step back, right, and look at the concept of AI in its original form. Because I think a lot of people now are equating the terms AI with generative AI tools, such as, you know, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so on. That's partly true, right? But I guess it still doesn't reflect the full representation of what AI actually is. So I took this definition from IBM, right? So the definition of AI is technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human intelligence and problem-solving capabilities. If we take this definition strictly, it means that AI is a moving target, right? So as human intelligence evolves, AI will also evolve. As our problem-solving capabilities develop, AI will also develop. Again, if we also take this definition strictly, it means that human intelligence will always be ahead of AI. I guess we are not talking about efficiency, right? We are not talking about speed. We are not talking about pace. We are not talking about volume. I think if you take the smartest person in the world, right, the most intelligent person in the world, and put it side by side with AI, human will always be smarter. Now, I would like you to take 15 seconds, right, to think about the AI that you know in your daily life. 15 seconds. I'm actually counting. I guess we have been using AI more than we know. That would be the thing that I would like to put forward now. The term AI was actually coined in 1956 at a computer science conference in the States, right? The first AI chatbot was actually created in 1966. And the function of the first AI chatbot was actually to perform as a psychotherapist. So what we can read from that is that mental health has always been a problem for human being, right? Now, so I guess when it comes to AI in daily life, I guess you've been using AI quite extensively, perhaps since 2000. The first example is voice recognition. I think all of you now have speech recognition software embedded into your phone, right? Depending on which brands of the phone you are using. The second one is the most interesting. Now we are consuming a lot of content, right? Through social media platform, right? TikTok, Netflix, YouTube. And we are not really selecting the content that we watch by ourselves, right? All of the content has been pre-selected or curated to us, if you like, you know, by the platforms. And we are not really choosing what we want to see, right? The platform is actually designing the content for us. The third one is the generative AI models that we are using, you know, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so on, which has generative power, right? It can generate responses. It can analyze data for us. It can process a lot of data for us as human researcher. The fourth one, image recognition. I think the simplest form of this would be face scan function on your phone, right? That you are using face scan, right, to unlock your phone or to unlock your computers. Machine translation is interesting, right? Because I think the first iteration of Google Translate came out in 2010, and it was crap, right? It was really terrible. Now it has gotten so much better, right? Mainly because of the different approaches in data training, and I get to that later on. And in healthcare, AI has been used as assistant to doctors in provide preliminary diagnosis, right, and in disease detection, right. When we look at the evolution and spectrum of AI, I can classify this into three main phases. The first one was something we call symbolic AI. And this is the form of AI that was actually based on rule-based domain of AI thinking, perhaps. And what it does is AI was trained to do one specific task, and it could only do that task only. Right? So I think in the example, AI was actually trained to play chess with human, right? And it could only do that. I think AI first beat human in chess playing in 1997, and I don't think human have beaten AI back since. The second phase is cyber-physical integration. Right. So you can see a lot of example of smart objects that you have in your home, right? Or some example of sensors that have been used in several smart cities. In theory, the traffic light in Bangkok should be based on AI model, right? And the way that they collect the data is they should have sensor underground that would determine the number of cars on each side of the road, which will later determine the number of seconds that each side of the road should get. I don't think that model is working really well in Bangkok at the moment, right? So we still have a lot more work to do. The last one is the cognitive system. And I think this is the thinking behind all the generative AI models that we are using right now. So now AI, the aim of AI in this phase is to actually mimic human thinking, right? So they use a technique called neural networks, right? So in human's brain, we have neural network. And what AI is trying to do in this phase is trying to imitate, the thinking of human being. And hence, we have generative AI model tools that now can perform tasks like human do. Now, I guess, AI, as I mentioned, AI was first coined in 1956. So the question is, why talk about AI now, but not then? Also, given the fact that we have been using AI for several years, not only after ChatGPT. The reason is, I guess, AI back then, as I mentioned, right, was actually based on rule-based system, right? It was trained using very limited set of data. It was used in academia, but I guess the use was really niche, right? And it was exclusive to a really small group of people who were, either tech savvy or have programming and coding knowledge, right, to be able to command AI. AI right now, I guess, is more accessible, right? It has generative capabilities. It has massive computing power. And in my personal opinion, I guess the emergence of ChatGPT in 2022 was an inflection point in terms of public perception of AI. I guess it was the first time that AI was, was ready for mass consumption by anyone, really, without programming or coding knowledge, right? And that has been the game changer since. Now, when we look at research and AI, I guess research itself is also changing. I mean, research always changes, right? But I guess the arrival of AI just accelerate the level or the speed of changes that we are witnessing. So AI changes, first of all, what we study, right? Then it also changes how we study it. And finally, it also changed how we share or disseminate our research results. With AI, research can be more multilingual. It can be more multimodal, right? So research traditionally is really text-based, right? Now with AI, it can be audio-based, it can be video-based, and so on. It can also be, it can also add more cultural aspect, into AI as well. But I guess with this, it is not just AI, but it is the involvement of human, which I will come back later. And I think the most important affordance of AI is the scalability, right? It allows us to perform large-scale research in a more convenient and effective ways. Now, but with scalability, it comes with it is a paradox, really, I would say. On the one hand, right, with computational scale, right, now we can collect millions of words, right, using AI, right? We can generate millions of images using AI. We can use AI to analyze a large set of images as well. It can also help capture interactions that we have both online, mainly online, but also offline as well. However, it also lacks contextual depth, right? In terms of meaning making, in terms of history, knowledge about history, in terms of the power relationship between different types of artifacts, like between communities, between different people. And it also lacks a lot of nuances, especially related to culture. So perhaps the important question is, can we gain scale without losing culture? I don't have the final answer for you now, but I hope that by the end of my talk, you will have a better idea of how we can balance human and AI. So here comes human digital synthesis approach to research. I think it is important to have the right perception from the start that I don't think AI will be a replacement, right, for human researcher, at least not in my lifetime, right? Not in the foreseeable future. But I guess AI and human can actually work together because we bring different things to the table. On the one hand, human is really good at interpreting data, right? We interpret different types of data. We interpret human. We understand interaction, right? We also bring expertise, right? We also bring knowledge domain, right, to the analysis process, right? And we have a lot more knowledge when it comes to culture. AI, on the other hand, is so much better than human when it comes to pattern detection, when it comes to speed, and when it comes to scalability of the research. So if we can combine the two effectively, hopefully we would get research that is rigorous, scalable, but remain culturally responsive. Now, with human and AI working together, I think we need sort of a new methodological ecosystem to look at. I'm not saying that the list that I have provided you here are definite, right? I think these are just some of the examples. So when we look at the methodological ecosystem with regards to human and AI working together, the first thing we get large language model and generative AI as data collector, data processor, data analyzer, and then with these two tools, right, they also allow us to perform different types of analysis, right? The first one is computational text analysis. We are working with text, right? You know that it's really laborious, right, to have to analyze text by yourself, right? Now AI can do some initial coding for you, and you actually look at the code generated by AI and validate it, right? The second one is, I guess, the most interesting. Now AI allows researcher to perform multimodal analytics of the data, right? Now AI can help with analyzing text, analyzing audios, analyzing videos, analyzing human gesture, and so on. I'm not saying human cannot do it, but I guess AI can do it at a much more efficient rate. So in terms of literature synthesis, I think traditionally when we do literature review, what we do is we read papers, we summarize paper, and we classify that into themes, right? And they put things together, and then we synthesize it, and then we write the section. Now with AI, it starts with human asking question, right? So human need to be the first one who asks the question, and then you go up and seek AI support, right? In terms of clustering themes, in terms of mapping different concepts, as well as compare different terminology used in different papers. The literature review cycle need to always finish with human, right? Human need to be the one who validate by reading original papers if synthesis made by AI actually match with the original papers. you need also check the context, right? Whether or not the analysis provided by AI is actually contextually relevant in your research. And finally, you need to look at any other challenges that AI might have missed. So in terms of thematic coding at scale, if you are a qualitative researcher, right, one thing that you often have to do is collect a lot of interview data, and then you have to analyze those data, right? It's fun, right? It's a fun process to understand human perspective, but it's also really laborious and tiring as well. What AI can help you do right now is, so once you have audio recording, right, from interviews, you can use speech-to-text software or speech-to-text feature of several AI to actually automatically transcribe that, right? And now you have a transcript to work with. And then you can use transcript to actually process, right, through different AI models, right? So you would get initial codes, right? AI can also provide you with cluster, right? It can provide counter patterns, and it can also identify outliers of the data. Now, as a human coder or as a human researcher, what you need to do is to look at all the coded data and ask the question, so does the theme proposed by AI make cultural sense in your context? The final potential benefits, before I go to the negative of AI, is learning analytics. And learning analytics comes with the emergence of the concept of big data. Now, as we interact in online platforms, right, we are generating a lot of data, right, that now are stored in the cloud somewhere. What learning analytics does is it actually capture the data generated in different online platforms, right, and create patterns of behaviors. A good example would be, I believe that most of you might have taken like online courses, like MOOCs, massive open online courses, through Coursera, edX, Thai MOOCs, and so on. And when you enroll in the course and when you actually study in the course actually captures a lot of your learning behaviors and data in terms of participation, right? How much you participate in the course, right? Revision, right? It actually keeps the log of how many attempts, right, you do until you get the correct answer. The last one is interaction. It also records your interaction with your peers, with your instructor, and with different types of content. And this is what you usually get with learning analytics, right? You usually get the dashboard. However, what we need to know is that dashboard only shows behavior, right? I think it is the human that would bring culture, right, to ask and to try to explain behaviors recorded by the system. All right, so it all sounds really nice, right? So there are a lot of things that AI can help us do as human researcher. However, I think there are a few risks that come with over-relying on AI, both as a researcher and more fundamentally as a human being. So I propose 4 risks, right, that are associated with the use of AI in research. The first one is algorithmic bias. Different AI models, they use different data set to train the model, right? And in my experience, I guess all of the AI models, all of the data that they use to train AI model is very Western centric, right? So it has a lot of Western conception in that, which might lead to the second risk, right? So if we ask AI to perform analysis for us, it might show some cultural misrepresentation because the norms that they use are very different from the context that we are working in. The third one is linguistic inequality. If you use different languages to prompt AI, right, you usually get different quality of results depending on the language that you use. I guess English is the most effective language because of the data that they use to train the model. Thai is still not very effective, right? So if you want to make it more effective, we need to input more Thai data into the model. And the last, and perhaps that's the most important one, is ethics. So who is accountable? Let's say you use AI to help with data analysis. You use AI to help with literature review. You use AI to proofread your manuscript before you publish it. When you publish your paper, something is wrong with your paper. There is certain mistake in your paper. Who is it to blame, right? Who is accountable for that? Is it you as a researcher, or is it AI as an assistant, or both of you should be blamed for that? So what we need to do to avoid, all these risks is to get ourselves into the habit of validating AI-generated output, right? Everything starts with documents, right? Document is always the first thing. I think garbage in, garbage out, right? I mean, if you put the right document in, AI will generate the right outputs for you. If you put the wrong document in, right, it will generate the wrong output for you. So that must be the most important starting point. The second one is AI output, right? So once you ask AI to process document, you get the output, right? And then you as human need to do source check, right? You need to do cultural checks of the data. And finally, you as human need to be the one who interpret the data. Never validate AI with AI alone, right? You can use AI to help you with certain aspect of your research, but you as a human researcher need to be the last one to validate everything. So what should remain distinctively human, and what kind of task can be outsourced or delegated to AI? Based on my experience, I would say AI is really strong at, first of all, searching for patterns, right? It can do it really well. It is very effective at transforming formats, right? Scaling comparison, generating options for you, and as well as accelerating iteration. I mean, if you have to do research that require repetition in research cycle, I think AI is really useful for that. Human, on the other hand, should retain these actions, right? Research purpose should be set by human, not AI, right? When you interpret something that is contextual, that is cultural, that should also remain human. Ethical judgment on what can be done, what cannot be done, what should be done, what should not be done in your research should rest with you as human researcher. And of course, you need to validate your decision, whether the decisions are made by AI or by human, right? You as the human researcher need to be the last one to validate that. And finally, I think we have not reached a consensus yet as to who should be accountable for what, right? But as of now, and at the surface level, because mostly it's your name on the paper, right? You need to be the one who is still accountable for anything, right? That you publish, despite using AI to help. Now, a simple rule for human digital synthesis: any task that can benefit from speed, scale, repetition, I guess it is okay to delegate or to outsource those tasks to AI. Any tasks that depend on meaning making, understanding values, and understanding context should be kept and protected to human interpretation. So, final consideration before we finish, right? There are some potential risks that come with using AI, especially from a human being standpoint. The first is dependence on technologies. If you are over relying, right, on using AI too much, even with simple tasks, such as finding research topic, you run the risk of becoming really dependent on AI to perform any other simple task in your life. And this can also lead to diminished skill, right? You are losing your problem-solving ability. You are also using your critical thinking and critical evaluation. The last one is skill compromisation. There is a concept called cognitive atrophy, and it refers to people's over-relying on generative AI tools to perform tasks for them, and this can actually lead to degradation of like some simple and essential problem solving and critical thinking skill that human need. The last is perhaps the most important in terms of becoming a researcher, right? I mean, if you are a postgraduate student, when you let algorithm handle drafting and structure logic for you, you as a researcher or as a learner actually bypass the struggle required to build deep and long-term mastery. I always advise against postgraduate students using AI to complete their dissertation, because I guess if you look at the research learning trajectory, right, there is not a sweet spot, but there are a stage where learners need to struggle, right? They need to find new literature. They need to know that it doesn't work, right? They need to go out and read again. And if you use AI to bypass that struggling process, in my opinion, there is no turning back, right? And if you bypass that, you will have a very difficult and challenging research career ahead of you. So in closing, I guess, as human being, I guess we are making less and less decision by ourselves every day, right? From the moment that you get up and you use your phone, right? All of the content has been, as I mentioned, right, curated to you by algorithms from different platforms that you use. When we want to find a restaurant to eat, right, we search restaurant near me, right, on Google. I don't think that's healthy in the long run for human being, right? I guess it is about time that we start reclaiming our agency back from over relying on these technologies. And yeah, I hope that this talk at least raise your awareness of not only the potential benefits of AI in doing research, but also some of the potential and perhaps even more serious drawback that comes with the technologies. So I would like to close before I let you go out to lunch with a paradox, right? I guess I hope that by listening to my talk today, it will do enough to encourage you to integrate AI in your research process, while at the same time discourage you from over relying on using too much AI in your research. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Napat, for an exceptional conclusion to our morning session today. So showing exactly how computational methods becomes one of the unlocked utilities in our daily life already. In the pathway to the cross-cultural discovery. Thank you very much. And then after we have listened to all of our colleagues, can we please take a group photo of your plenary sessions and keynote speakers who's still here? Could we do a group shot? People, ha. So Kunbo will take a group shot for you. For the rest of you, for the plenary speakers and for all the keynote speakers, please. Professor Dr. Rasmi เชิญค่ะ Dr. Rene, if he's still here. Professor Ling Shi Wang. Professor Wang.
Professor Wong.
Professor Wang as well.
What a phenomenal morning of vision, scholarship, and inspiring discussions that brings our morning plenary sessions to a close.
Okay. So now before we have a lunch break and head into our afternoon parallel sessions, we want to make sure that you all have the key details to navigate the venue and the program seamlessly over the next 2 days. So to walk us through some quick housekeeping notes, program guidelines, and event announcements, please welcome Ajahn Sam O'Keefe for that. And everybody, if you post something on the online or social media, please do the hashtag of ASICE2026. Ajahn Sam.
Thank you, Ajahn Poom. That was one point I would make, so thank you for making my speak briefer, because I know all of us are very hungry. Good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon already. So that means all of us are starving. So I'll go through a few housekeeping notes just to make sure that today and tomorrow go smoothly for all of you. First off, if you're wondering where to find the schedule, right, all of us have name tags here. You can look at your name tag, go to the bottom and scan the QR. In that, you'll find a folder where you can access the 2-day program for the conference, as well as the ASICE2026 booklet. In that very comprehensive booklet where you can find all of the abstracts that will be featured in the conference over these 2 days. You can also find in that folder via the QR the program evaluation form, which we kindly ask you to fill out as we go along today and tomorrow. Let me quickly go over what's in your welcome package at the registration desk. So in it, you'll find one is a Thai-style bamboo woven fan. Some of you may have discovered that already. And this fan really symbolizes the interwoven global network of all of us here today. So it's very special. As well as a commemorative cup, which celebrates the 70th anniversary of the Faculty of Archaeology at Silpakorn University. So it's a wonderful keepsake to remember really this milestone with us. And now for really what's on everyone's mind is food. So for food and flow, please note that we're on the 4th floor at the moment. This dining hall that's over all of you, where we held the break, will be our hub for all of our meals, as well as our morning and afternoon refreshment breaks, as well as lunch today and tomorrow. All the meeting rooms for both the on-site and in-person presentations will be spread across floors 2, 4, and 6. So just remember even numbers, 2, 4, 6, if that can help you remember. If you need the restrooms, there are clear signs for those. So please just look out for those. They're on every floor. Lastly, very important, you'll see our incredible student staff from Silpakorn University who are moving around. They're in their white university uniforms. Can I have all of the student volunteers maybe raise their hand at the moment? Just point yourselves out, be confident, be excited, you're students, wonderful students. Please, if you get lost, need help with a room, or have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask them. They'll happily find you the information or support that you need. That wraps it up for me. I don't want to go any longer because all of us are starving. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful, inspiring 2 days together, and we look forward to seeing and speaking with all of you throughout. Thank you very much. Have a nice lunch.